In my last video, someone wrote a comment about wanting to hear me talk about impatience, how to deal with impatience when you're manifesting, how to stop being impatient when you're manifesting. And when I saw that comment, I was like, you know what? It is a really good time to talk about this topic. So we're going to get deep into this today. And before we fully dive in, I will introduce myself to any of you who might not know me yet. My name is Genevieve. I'm a manifestation coach. I mainly talk about law of assumption type topics. But as I grow as a coach, I include more and more things that I'm realizing are going to help you refine yourself as a manifester and get deeper and more nuanced in what it means to be a manifester. So yeah, we go deep into some interesting topics on this channel. I try to explain things to you in a very fleshed out way. So if you like my style of coaching, if you want to work with me more, there are all kinds of links below for how you can do that. You can do a one-on-one session with me. You can do one of the courses or all of the courses that I offer. You can also join the membership portion of this channel where I have some exclusive content and some perks and benefits depending on which tier of the membership you join. So there's all kinds of ways to work with me. So check that out if you feel like connected to what I am teaching you. So with that, we need to talk about impatience. And this topic today, the way I'm going to talk about it, might trigger some of you. Depending on your spiritual progress, you're either going to be triggered or you're going to love everything I say, or you're going to be somewhere in the middle where you're both triggered and you love what I'm saying. So I just want to say that to preemptively prepare you for the conversation around impatience and manifesting. Because the first thing I want to tell you is that if you're feeling impatient while you're manifesting, you are nowhere near the right state in terms of the actual magnetic state that is going to cause changes in the people and in the reality around you. If you're feeling impatient, you are still participating in the dynamic within yourself that does not have the thing that you want. Because let me remind you, if you are new or if you've been doing manifestation stuff for a long time, the way we manifest is we start to identify so strongly internally with the having of this thing or having of this relationship, or if having is too strong of a word, we're identifying with the ease of which we could have this thing or this relationship. We're starting to see ourselves as like, yeah, this is not a difficult thing to get. This is something I could easily accept I have. This, what I'm saying right now, is the reason why you hear a lot of people say, oh, it's so easy to manifest small things, or it's so easy to manifest things I don't care about, but it's so difficult to manifest the things I really care about. The reason that is, well, part of the reason that is because the things you quote unquote don't care about, or that you label as being small and therefore insignificant to you, you're already having a level of havingness towards that thing where it's like, yeah, that'd be easy to get. That's not a big deal to get that thing. And I'm not even like concerned about it. And even if it didn't happen, it wouldn't even be that big a deal because this thing is not that important to me. It's not that big a deal to me. You're naturally identifying as someone who could easily have that thing. And so therefore it easily magnetizes to you. But the things you put on that pedestal, as you hear us say a lot, or the things that you make like, oh, this is really important, and oh, I really need this, and oh, I'm really impatient for this to happen. The things that you make big, because you are the only one making different manifestations small and big. Like everything is equal. Everything in reality is neutral. It only gets meaning and importance through consciousness, and you are the operant power with consciousness. So you looking at a thing and saying, oh, that's nothing, or you looking at a thing and being like, oh my God, that's a really big deal. That's what gives it life, and that's what defines your relationship to it. And whatever you're defining is your relation to that person, place, or thing you're trying to manifest, you are keeping that dynamic in place. So this is why I say all the time that to manifest, you have to change the dynamic within yourself towards that thing, that person, place, or thing you're trying to manifest. You have to internally Change the way you're perceiving it. So that's just the first reminder I want to give you when it comes to impatience, because depending on your level of impatience, because impatience is of course also a scale. Some people are way on the high end of the scale. They're really impatient. They're really freaking out about this all the time. They feel like they just can't live another day without this manifestation. And then there's some people who are kind of in the middle or kind of on the low end where it's like, oh yeah, sometimes I feel impatient again, but sometimes I'm like, whatever. It doesn't matter where you are on the scale of impatience. All that's important for you to know is that when any lick of impatience comes up, any spark of impatience, whenever it comes up, that is you leaving the ease, the naturalness, the relief of easily knowing that you could have it. You're stepping out of an easy relationship to this thing you're trying to manifest, and you're starting to drift towards, oh, I don't have it. Because impatience, if you think about it, the very nature of impatience says, I don't have this. The only reason you feel impatient is because you are saying, I don't have this. I'm looking around and I do not have this. And this brings me to my next point. And this is the point that might trigger some of you not so much. I don't know, but we just got to say it. The 3D reality, this physical stuff out here and all the people in it, are never going to give you fulfillment. They're never going to provide long-term stability, long-term happiness. The 3D reality is meaningless. This is why we say, to ignore the 3D. I know you guys often hear ignore the 3D in the context of ignore the bad stuff, but honestly, you could ignore the good stuff too, because even the good stuff is technically meaningless. It only means as much as the fulfillment that you match it with, or with the identification that you match it with. If you don't like the word fulfillment, the word fulfillment can sometimes feel too lofty, like too unachievable. And really all fulfillment means is that you simply feel a naturalness about this thing. You simply feel like it's easy. Again, there's relief around it. There's a sense of tapping into some confidence around it. There's just simply like an ease about this thing. That's what I mean about fulfillment in this context. It doesn't mean that you need to be like over the moon happy all the time and in some like crazy like state of high vibrational love all the time. That's not what I mean by fulfillment. It simply means that you have a sense of acceptance towards this thing that you are manifesting. So to get back what I was saying before, when you are impatient and when you are waiting for your manifestation to happen, you are going back into flawed ego thinking that it's the 3D that has all the meaning. It's the 3D that has all the power, and it's the physical change that will cause you to have happiness and fulfillment and confidence and relief. It's the 3D that will enable you to be happy. And this is a really common thing for humans. It's a big paradigm shift for many people to make, because most of you came into manifestation because you were obsessed with something in 3D reality. You were obsessed with a person, you were obsessed with winning the lottery, you were obsessed with receiving all A's or getting that perfect job, or like there's something that you were obsessed with in the 3D and you were wanting to control it and you were feeling insecure about controlling it. So then you found manifestation, and ironically, very paradoxically, what you are meant to be learning through manifestation is that you have to stop giving so many fucks, excuse my French, about external validation. Because that's the thing that most of you, when you came in here, you were obsessed with external validation. You needed that person's attention. You needed that person's love. You needed the perfect grades. You needed the perfect body. And you were obsessed with externally achieving this thing. But the true journey of a very powerful conscious manifester is realizing, oh my God, it was never about the external validation. It was never about getting my SP to give me the attention I wanted from them. It was never about having the perfect grades or getting, a perfectly snatched waist. It was never about that. It was about me simply being a good person to myself and simply allowing my own consciousness to accept that I am all the things that I think I'll get through external validation. I used to think, oh, I'll know that I'm loved and sexy when the SP chooses me, or oh, I'll know that I'm smart enough and that, you know, I can get into a good college when I have the grades to prove it. What we're doing as manifestors is we're saying, fuck all this, fuck all the smoke and mirrors of all the 3D stuff. Internally, I'm saying I'm that right now. I am that powerful that I don't need any external validation. I don't need any external proof. I'm not waiting for proof. I'm not looking for it. I am saying that right now, I am loved and sexy and beautiful and so smart and the best thing that's ever landed on planet Earth. I'm saying that that's true. Right now, I don't need a single lick of proof for the 3D reality, and I'm not impatiently waiting for the 3D reality to validate me. So I hope to God that this is landing on you, because this is key. This is why I say that if you're dabbling back into impatience, where it's like, oh, well, why hasn't the 3D done what I wanted it to do yet? You are absolutely not in the right state. You are going back into that old you that felt like, well, I need them to give it to me first. I need the 3D to do something for me first. And then maybe I'll feel secure after it gives me that. But here's the other point about this. The 3D reality can give you so much. And for a lot of you, it already is. There's a lot of you, you're already getting a lot of abundance. And yet, is it really making you happy? Is getting the money, the attention, even like the body, like, is that really making you like sustainably happy? Because for a lot of you, it's like a temporary ego boost. Like you temporarily get an ego boost high from external validation. But a lot of you, most of you, in your true self-concept, your true relationship with yourself, you're still suffering, you're still grasping, you're still, nothing is ever enough, I need more, I need to manifest more. And this is why I say the 3D reality is meaningless, even when it is giving you a lot of good stuff that some people would be like, oh my God, if I had what she had, I would just have the best life. You are living someone else's dream life, and yet you're still here saying it's not enough, and you're impatient trying to manifest something else. Your ego is never going to be satisfied. And when you are trying to manifest primarily through your ego, even the positive things you do manifest, they're not going to be enough. Like I said, it's just kind of a short-term ego boost, but then after that wears off, it's back to that like old relationship, that genuine relationship that you have with yourself, the way you genuinely think about yourself, treat yourself, what you accept about yourself. All of that stuff comes flooding back in, and the temporary ego boost that you got from a little validation of your SP texting you, or the validation of getting the perfect grade on your test, or the validation of like your waist just lost 2 inches, that was a temporary high, and now you're back to still being like, oh, but I need more. I need to look even better. I need even more attention. I need him to change even more because he's still not doing enough. So I hope this is really landing, because again, this is what your impatience is like a parasite feeding off of. It's feeding off of your self-concept that is still like, yeah, I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. I'm still looking for I'm still addicted, because for some of you, it's like an addiction. I'm addicted to wanting the 3D to validate me. And obviously you can see now that that's not going to work. That's not going to create genuine change, long-term genuine change in your 3D reality. Because it's also the kind of coach I am, that I want you guys to genuinely level up in your manifestation, not just be able to like manifest little things here and there and be like, oh yeah, I did this that one time and this that one time. I want you to genuinely overcome the bullshit that keeps bothering you in your life right now. I want you to genuinely level up out of that and trust yourself so much, love yourself so much, that you genuinely do not need the external validation. Because I promise you, the people who are most successful, and this has also been my very personal experience, like big manifestations finally conform when I honestly stop giving a fuck. And this is why we put so much emphasis on detachment and surrender, in terms of being like, you have to get to that state where you no longer need the 3D to prove it to you because internally you're so at peace about it. You're internally just so accepting of yourself and accepting that that thing is easy for you to have, but you're also not looking for it to be proven to you. This is a huge thing, and I get that it's a paradox. I always tell my clients, it annoys you guys because it's a paradox. But this is the paradox to embrace, is that when you accept that you have it and you don't even care about the 3D proving it to you, you don't even need the 3D to prove to you that your SP loves you or that, that you're the most intelligent person at your company. You don't need the 3D to prove it to you. You're just genuinely accepting an ease around that. Like, yeah, of course that's probably true about me, or of course I can accept that. That is when it will happen, but it can't happen if you're like, okay, I really accept that it's happening, but then you're looking like, okay, is it happening? Because I need it to happen still. That is still you putting the 3D on a pedestal. That's still you saying, nope, I'm not the power. The fulfillment doesn't come from me. The fulfillment comes from out here. It comes from the external validation that I'm desperately addicted to and I'm hoping that I'll get. I don't really believe what I'm saying. I'm kind of tricking myself. Like I say, oh, my SP loves me, but it's kind of a trick because I'm just hoping that, if I say it enough, it'll make him do it in the 3D reality. So this is why I put a lot of emphasis on you need to genuinely be different. You can't just be like tricking yourself like, oh, I'll pretend like, oh yeah, I'm really let go, I'm really detached, and oh, I don't care. But really, you still really, really care, and you're like still obsessed with the 3D, and you're like trying to make it change. You have to genuinely make this manifestation not such a big deal, not even that important, to make it a smaller thing. Like all the other stuff, like I said in the example at the beginning of this video, like the stuff that you manifest easily because you're like, oh, that's like small stuff, that's not important to me. Again, it's not really small. Everything in 3D reality is neutral. It only seems easy and small to you because in your relationship to it, you have made it that way. You've made it, yep, I accept that's easy for me. But when it comes to your SP or whatever the heck else it is that you're trying to manifest, you make it so important. You make it such a big deal and you're so afraid. Like, what if I'm never chosen and what would happen if this happened? And you are like making it such a big deal. And it's all that fear that you have such allegiance to, that you're so loyal to, that fear comes up and you really take it seriously and you're like, yes, that defines me. You need to become neutral to that fear. You need to start not giving so much of a fuck about those fears. You need to decide, I just feel ease towards this. I don't even think this is that important anymore. I just accept that it is working for me. But even if the 3D never proved it to me, I really wouldn't care. That is the ideal state that you are meant to get into to be a really powerful conscious manifestor, where you truly do switch out of the old way of thinking when you came into this, where you were obsessed with external validation and you realize, fuck external validation, fuck the 3D is meaningless, I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna come over here and be like, my consciousness is all I'm experiencing. I'm not even experiencing the 3D. I'm only experiencing stimuli out here that's just being filtered through my consciousness. I can't experience the 3D without my consciousness. It's all coming through consciousness. So you're only ever experiencing your own consciousness your whole life. So because that's all you're ever experiencing, you need to make your relationship with yourself, with your own consciousness, the rules you make about yourself, the rules you make about how lovable you are and what's possible for you or not. This is what we mean by you're the operant power. You have to take that so seriously. The way you talk to yourself, the way you accept things about yourself. You have to take that so seriously, and you need to put that on the pedestal. This is why we say put yourself on the pedestal. Like, actually make your love and care and trust of yourself so important that anything in the 3D becomes much less important, much less interesting to you. And of course, when good things happen, allow yourself to enjoy them, but don't worship anything that happens in the 3D. You are meant to worship yourself. And that is a direct quote from Neville Goddard. It's one of my favorite quotes that he said, that we are not meant to worship our creations. We are meant to worship the creator. Who's the creator? It's you. You are the creator. You and your divine connection to God. That is all you're meant to worship. All of this extra stuff out here is just extra stuff. It's just kind of fluff that happens after the fact. After you've already had these huge shifts in consciousness, this stuff out here will follow you, but it's just kind of extra. You don't need your SP to be obsessed with you. You don't need perfect grades. You don't need your physical body to look a certain way. But the more you treat yourself like you do need that, and you're a failure if you don't get XYZ, you're gonna stay stuck. Nothing's gonna change because you're not genuinely changing your relationship with yourself. But again, the paradox is that when you genuinely embrace, I'm good, I'm amazing right now, I'm awesome right now, everything about me is great right now, there's nothing wrong with me, I can easily accept this, I can easily accept that, all these things I can accept, all these things I want, you know what, I'm just gonna let myself enjoy that I already have them. And you're just so in that you're like, yeah, fuck the 3D, I kind of don't care what's happening out here. Paradoxically, that is when everything shifts, because you've shifted your genuine energy. You have taken back your power from all this 3D bullshit, all of this fear bullshit, all this ego bullshit, and you have brought it back into you and said, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy that I already have it now, and I'm just going to trust that it's working out for me. And even if this weird stuff looks confusing or it doesn't ever prove me right, I kind of don't care. The irony is the less you need to be proven right, the irony is the more likely you are to be proven right. So you have to embrace that. If you want to have fun on this journey and be much more successful, you have to embrace that paradox of the less you need it, the more likely you are to get it. So stop playing in the dynamic of, I need this, I'm obsessed with this, I can't wait any longer for this. The more that you are in that, the more, yeah, you're gonna just be in that. You're not gonna see changes, you're just gonna spiral deeper into suffering, because all you can experience is yourself. And when you're doing that to yourself and your own consciousness, well, that's on you. That's what you're doing. It's not going to change. Nothing's going to validate you. You're just going to stay in that until you finally get it, until you finally maybe get into enough pain that you get it, that you need to genuinely change. The 3D doesn't need to change. You do. You need to change your relationship with yourself in a genuine, deeper way. And that is what causes like miraculous things to shift in the 3D reality. So that is what I have for you today in terms of dealing with impatience and manifesting and waiting and manifesting. So please let me know your thoughts, your questions and comments. If you have any other requests for other things I talk about in a video, let me know and I will try to get to it. And again, a reminder, if you want to work with me more, there are links below on how to do that. I especially, if you resonated with this topic today, I especially encourage you to do the 31-day self-concept overhaul course. So that is going to help you a lot with the themes that I talked about in this video. All right, that is long enough rant for today. I will see you guys in my next video. All right, bye.